25-year-old Rampage Jackson was arrested and charged with felony battery this morning and put on a $50,000 bail in Los Angeles.
Rampage Jackson has just received his sentence, and it's far worse than anyone imagined. After brutally attacking a veteran wrestler during a live stream, the son of UFC legend Rampage Jackson now faces consequences that could end his fighting career for good. But what exactly did the court decide, and what comes next for him? Let's break it down. In the ruthless world of combat sports, where heroes rise and fall in the blink of an eye, few moments have shaken the community as deeply as what happened on the night of August 24th, 2025. Rampage Jackson, once seen as the rising son of UFC Hall of Famer Quinton Rampage Jackson, turned a scripted wrestling segment into a horrifying real-life assault that nearly proved fatal, leaving the entire fight world in disbelief. The assault on Stuart Psycho Stu Smith by Rampage Jackson on August 24th, 2025, at the Knox Pro Wrestling Academy in Sun Valley, Los Angeles, perfectly shows the dangerous line between scripted entertainment and uncontrolled aggression in the age of live streaming. What started as a simple promotional event for the 25-year-old aspiring MMA fighter quickly turned into a violent attack that left Smith hospitalized, shattered Jackson's future, and forced the entire indie wrestling community to rethink its safety measures. To truly understand the gravity of this event, we need to know the people involved. Stuart Psycho Stu. Smith wasn't just another wrestler chasing fame. He was a 32-year-old independent performer and a proud U.S. Army veteran known for his high-energy matches and promotions like Knox Pro Wrestling Academy. Smith had served honorably as an Army sergeant from 2008 to 2014, including multiple deployments to Iraq. After returning home, wrestling became more than a career. It became his therapy, a way to confront his PTSD and turn his pain into purpose. That's what makes this story so heavy. Wrestling wasn't just a job for veterans like Smith, it was a lifeline.
Psycho Stu happens to be a veteran, and he uses wrestling as a way to deal with his PTSD. Because people who go to fight on the battlefield, they go through a lot.
On the other side was Rampage Jackson, a young man burdened by the immense weight of his father's legendary name. Born on May 2nd, 2000, Raja grew up dreaming of following in the footsteps of his father, the iconic Rampage Jackson. Deeply inspired by his father's achievements, he entered the world of mixed martial arts with hopes of building his own legacy. But unlike Rampage, who earned his reputation through years of grit and dominance, Raja struggled to escape the long shadow cast by that legacy. Every step he took in the sport was a reminder of what his father had already accomplished. The pressure to live up to that explosive reputation followed him everywhere on camera, in the gym, and across his social media. As one analysis of their relationship put it, Raja's biggest fight wasn't inside the cage, it was with the expectations that came with his last name.
Hell no, I don't got no bread, bro. My dad got bread. That's his bread. That's not mine. That's why I want to get on brand risk.
Every time he walks in somewhere, his dad is bigger than him. No matter what he accomplishes, his dad. It's just like when you're going out with a star.
Raja had been making a name for himself as both a fighter, with an impressive 4-0 amateur record, and as a content creator on Kick, where he had gathered over 15,000 followers. But with that online fame came a different kind of pressure. The non-stop chat comments, the constant demand for entertainment, and the need to live up to his father's intense personality created a dangerous mix of insecurity and bottled-up aggression that would soon spiral out of control. The night of August 24th was supposed to be simple. Knox Pro Wrestling Academy's monthly Sun Valley Slam event was a small, family-friendly show that usually drew around 150 to 200 local fans. Raja, invited as a special guest thanks to his growing Kick following, was booked for a short 5-minute promo and bump segment with Smith. What no one realized was that Raja had come with his own personal frustrations, ready to turn a harmless wrestling act into a real-life disaster. The tension started even before the cameras rolled backstage. What began as playful banter between performers quickly turned hostile. The spark that ignited it all was caught on Raja's own livestream, showing the exact moment Smith hit him with what looked like a beer can during what was meant to be a scripted segment. What happened next revealed everything, as Raja's father would later explain. That was the instant when the line between performance and reality completely disappeared.
I'm just mad because Raja lied to me, because I was live streaming when he got hit over the head with the can, and I called him. I was like, son, what's going on? Like, what you doing? And he didn't tell me nothing about them working him into a match so he can get his revenge, so he can get his payback, because he know I would have told him to take his ass home. Because the day before he just almost got knocked out in the gym.
Raja had been making a name for himself as both a fighter, with an impressive 4-0 amateur record, and as a content creator on Kick, where he had gathered over 15,000 followers. But with that online fame came a different kind of pressure. The non-stop chat comments, the constant demand for entertainment, and the need to live up to his father's intense personality created a dangerous mix of insecurity and bottled-up aggression that would soon spiral out of control. The night of August 24th was supposed to be simple. Knox Pro Wrestling Academy's monthly Sun Valley Slam event was a small, family-friendly show that usually drew around 150 to 200 local fans. Raja, invited as a special guest thanks to his growing kick following, was booked for a short 5-minute promo and bump segment with Smith. What no one realized was that Raja had come with his own personal frustrations, ready to turn a harmless wrestling act into a real-life disaster. The tension started even before the cameras rolled backstage. What began as playful banter between performers quickly turned hostile. The spark that ignited it all was caught on Raja's own livestream, showing the exact moment Smith hit him with what looked like a beer can during what was meant to be a scripted segment. What happened next revealed everything, as Raja's father would later explain. That was the instant when the line between performance and reality completely disappeared.
Man, I'm pissed. They should come at me. They're trying me. Watch it. What?
Real one of them bit me. I'm tired of everybody playing with me. Think I'm always playing and call me shit. None of bro. At the end of the day, I'ma stand up for myself because I'm tired of everybody playing with me, bro. Real.
The sequence began around 9:45 p.m. PDT, as shown in the unedited Kick VOD and confirmed by venue security cameras. Smith, dressed in his black and red singlet proudly marked with Army Strong, as a nod to his military service, entered the ring to loud cheers, mic in hand, ready for the scripted segment. Jackson followed soon after, notably wearing street clothes instead of wrestling gear, a red flag that went unnoticed amid the excitement of the live show. The promos started with typical back-and-forth banter, but the mood shifted fast. Jackson suddenly dropped the mic and reached out for what looked like a friendly handshake. According to eyewitness Douglas Doug Mallow, a Knockex referee and Smith's tag partner that night, Smith took his hand and said off mic, "We're good, brother." The crowd cheered. Then, in a split second, chaos erupted. Raja pulled Smith by the hair like a spike driver, turning the scripted exchange into a violent ambush. At exactly 9:48:45, Jackson was heard muttering into the live feed, "It's always been my dream to up a pro wrestler," a chilling line later confirmed through enhanced post-incident audio. He then grabbed Smith's hair with his left hand and executed a double-leg takedown, slamming Smith's face into the mat with a force estimated between 15 to 20 miles per hour. What followed was a prolonged assault so brutal that even seasoned combat sports fans were left stunned. When experts later reviewed the footage frame by frame, the true horror of that moment became undeniable.
He throws him down. Bura! Goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He falls at 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 people are holding him back. It's like half 22 more, 21, 22. Bro, come on, man. Where is the humanity in you? And this guy, if after he was held back, he felt like he needed to do more. He was so pumped up. He was like, "They keep fucking with me." Watch his reaction after he had just blown somebody's brains out. That is Raja.
The crown of Smith's skull hit the mat first, knocking him unconscious in less than half a second. Slow motion footage confirmed the impact. His body went limp instantly, his eyes rolled back, and blood began to pool from a split lip. But Raja didn't stop. He swiftly moved into a mount position and unleashed between 14 and 18 closed fist strikes to Smith's unprotected face and temple over the next 22 seconds. Several wrestlers and referees rushed in to intervene, but the damage was already done. Doug Mallow dove forward, wrapping his arms around Raja's waist in a desperate bear hug, yelling, "Enough, man, it's over!" Yet Raja broke free with a hip escape and landed 2 more punches before being restrained. What had started as a family Oz-Choss-friendly wrestling show had turned into a horrifying scene that looked more like a street brawl. Children in the audience watched in terror, some screaming as parents tried to cover their eyes. Smith lay motionless for 4 minutes and 32 seconds, while on-site EMTs stabilized his neck with a C-collar before loading him onto a stretcher. Attendee footage captured pure chaos, people crying, shouting, wrestlers forming a prayer circle around the fallen Smith. As one eyewitness later described, the most disturbing part wasn't just the violence itself, but Raja's cold, detached expression during and after the assault, as if he had crossed a line he couldn't come back from.
That is Raja Jackson. And then even his dad was like, "Woo." Even his dad, when his dad watched it, was like, "Woo. They're gonna ban my son." The guy was on the phone talking to people like, "Man, I'm pissed. They should come at me. They're trying me."
This wasn't just a wrestling match gone wrong. It was the total collapse of the boundary between entertainment and reality, between controlled performance and uncontrolled rage. In just 47 seconds, Raja Jackson didn't only end another man's career, he also destroyed his own future. What began as a dream to take down a pro wrestler turned into a nightmare that would haunt everyone involved for years to come. The aftermath was just as devastating as the attack itself, leaving the combat sports world in shock and tearing apart Raja's own family. Within hours, outrage spread across both wrestling and MMA communities, forcing a hard look at the blurred line between performance and real violence. Stuart "Psycho Stu" Smith was rushed to Providence Holy Cross Medical Center in Mission Hills around 10:45 p.m., intubated and unresponsive after taking more than 20 unanswered blows to the head and face while lying defenseless. Medical reports revealed horrifying injuries: a shattered upper jawbone needing surgical plating, major trauma to the lower jaw, a 3-inch lip gash requiring 12 stitches, the loss of 4 teeth, fractures in 2 molars, and a grade 3 concussion that left him with memory loss for nearly 48 hours. The full extent of his condition became clear when his brother Andrew gave the first update on his recovery, confirming that the beloved veteran had come terrifyingly close to losing his life.
Good evening. Stuart Psycho Stu is resting since he sustained severe injuries to his head. He's currently conscious and able to talk, but will have difficult recovery ahead. With all the media and social media attention, it's been hard to get back to everyone. Stu appreciates all the love and support. He loves wrestling, his wrestling family, and all his fans and supporters. Wrestling has been a huge part of his life, and he loves to put on performance. He's also just a regular guy with a life and family outside the ring. His wife has currently set up a GoFundMe for those who are wishing to donate.
These injuries, though not fatal, were career-altering for a performer whose craft depended on facial expression and physical presence. Orthopedic specialists estimated 6 to 12 months of reconstructive treatment, including titanium implants and orthognathic surgery, with projected costs surpassing $150,000 before insurance coverage. While Smith fought for his life in the ICU, public outrage exploded, turning the incident into a cultural flashpoint. Captured live on Kick and rapidly shared across X, YouTube, and TikTok, the 47-second clip drew over 12 million views within 48 hours. The wrestling community's response was immediate and furious, seeing the assault as a betrayal of the trust that holds their industry together. Among the most vocal was Filthy Tom Lawler, former UFC fighter and NJPW star, who condemned Raja's post-assault pin attempt on the unconscious Smith as deplorable and demanded lifetime bans for everyone involved. Meanwhile, Doug Malau, the referee who risked himself to pull Raja off, Smith became an unexpected hero and symbol of the community's pain. Yet the most heartbreaking part of the fallout came from Quentin Rampage Jackson himself, who struggled publicly with his son's actions. In a post made that same night, Rampage called the assault a case of bad judgment, admitting he initially thought it was part of the show, since he'd heard about a prior backstage altercation where Smith had allegedly struck Raja. His full emotional conflict came through later in a Raw interview where he opened up about not only what happened that night, but also how distant and strained his relationship with his son had become.
I talked to him, I heard his story, and I heard some of the stuff, and then after that, I learned a whole lot of stuff and about it and everything. Roger's wrong. He went against what I told him to do.
The pain in Rampage's voice was unmistakable as he spoke about how his son's actions had not only hurt Smith, but had pulled the entire Jackson family into a nightmare of death threats, backlash, and relentless public judgment. The interview exposed the raw heartbreak of a father watching his child tear down everything he had spent a lifetime building, his legacy, his reputation, and the values he had tried to instill. It was a moment of deep remorse and helplessness, showing that the fallout from Raja's actions extended far beyond the ring, leaving emotional scars that would take far longer to heal than any physical wound.
I'm highly, you guys, I can't even put in words how upset I am with my son. He dishonored my name. I've been in this sport for a long time, and when he did that, they're like, son of MMA, Rampage Jackson, goes out. That's my fucking name.
What made the situation even more tragic was Rampage's emotional admission that the assault had completely changed his relationship with his son. The same father who once proudly promoted Raja's fights, celebrated his wins, and supported his growing streaming career now found himself unable to even speak to him. With a heavy voice, Rampage confessed, "Listen, I know he's my son. I'm not cutting him off forever. I just haven't talked to him." It was a raw, painful glimpse into a father's conflict torn between love and disappointment, between wanting to protect his child and having to face the damage that child had caused.
My fucking son, I'm not cutting him off for forever. I just haven't talked to him.
But this is the worst moment of his life. He needs you now more than ever.
Now, listen, I talked to him after this shit happened, and he hid the fact that he did this.
The toxic dynamics that fueled this tragedy became more evident as analysts began dissecting the relationship between father and son. The same streaming culture that had elevated both Rampage and Raja, giving them fame and direct access to their audiences, had also created an environment where aggression, ego, and shock value were rewarded. In that space, boundaries blurred and unhealthy behaviors were not only ignored but often encouraged. What began as a shared passion for entertainment and combat sports slowly evolved into a cycle of pressure and validation that neither father nor son seemed able to escape, ultimately leading to the moment that changed both of their lives forever.
Now, Rampage is joking. He's clearly trolling.
Yes, but that got into the head of his son.
His son is not trolling. His son is actually upset.
My dad can't never call me a bitch.
Well, now you just involved fucking Rampage himself, because that's his boy.
Yeah, I can handle myself. Yeah.
The public's demand for accountability grew louder with each passing day as no arrest was made. Reactions flooded in within minutes of the 9:49 p.m. PDT attack, with live chat logs filled with horrified comments like, "That's not scripted, call the cops." And "This is attempted murder on stream." By the morning of August 25th, the clip had gone viral worldwide, trending on X under hashtags like Raja, Jackson Assault, and Justice for Psycho Stew, generating over 1.2 million mentions in just 24 hours, with nearly 92% of the sentiment overwhelmingly negative. The lack of immediate law enforcement response quickly became a focal point of public anger. Commentators across social media and sports circles voiced growing frustration, arguing that the system seemed to move slower when fame was involved, and that justice delayed was beginning to feel like justice denied.
Honestly, I'm not surprised that Roger hasn't been arrested. I feel like the police are doing like a deep investigation, because this is not the first time that something like this has happened in pro wrestling. It's not. It is just a high-profile case, I feel like, because it was live streamed on a different. It went different.
Meanwhile, Smith's recovery became a unifying cause for the wrestling world and its fans. A fundraiser organized by his partner, Emily, and amplified by wrestling figures like Rob Van Dam and indie booker Cody Diner, gained massive traction, surpassing $50,000 in just 24 hours thanks to thousands of small fan donations and major contributions, including $10,000 from YouTuber MrBeast. By September 2nd, the total had reached $120,000, and as of September 21st, 2025, it stands at $127,345 for more than 8,200 donors. But this surge of generosity was about more than money. It was the community's way of declaring that what happened to Smith mattered, that his pain would not be ignored, and that solidarity still existed in a world often divided by controversy. Yet, the psychological impact on Smith ran much deeper than the visible scars. In a joint Facebook Live on September 1st, Emily revealed that his early recovery involved 24-hour monitoring for vertigo, memory lapses, and mood swings, typical in severe traumatic brain injury cases. She described how Stewart suffered flashbacks of the attack that triggered panic episodes, showing that even as his body began to heal, the mental and emotional wounds would take far longer to mend.
Former, I think, Marine or something like that, had severe PTSD, started wrestling to find an escape from all the madness and PTSD.
Here's what I would say to Raj.
You're talking about a veteran.
Here, if I was my,
Who's
if
a
this
family.
was my son, I would say this to him.
Meanwhile, Smith's recovery became a unifying cause for the wrestling world and its fans. A fundraiser organized by his partner, Emily, and amplified by wrestling figures like Rob Van Dam and indie booker Cody Diner, gained massive traction, surpassing $50,000 in just 24 hours thanks to thousands of small fan donations and major contributions, including $10,000 from YouTuber MrBeast. By September 2nd, the total had reached $120,000, and as of September 21st, 2025, it stands at $127,345 for more than 8,200 donors. But this surge of generosity was about more than money. It was the community's way of declaring that what happened to Smith mattered, that his pain would not be ignored, and that solidarity still existed in a world often divided by controversy. Yet, the psychological impact on Smith ran much deeper than the visible scars. In a joint Facebook Live on September 1st, Emily revealed that his early recovery involved 24-hour monitoring for vertigo, memory lapses, and mood swings, typical in severe traumatic brain injury cases. She described how Stewart suffered flashbacks of the attack that triggered panic episodes, showing that even as his body began to heal, the mental and emotional wounds would take far longer to mend.
Has been arrested.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I've been waiting to say this since August 23rd. He went 3, 2, 1, straight to jail.
Jackson was taken into custody without incident in the early morning hours at his Los Angeles apartment complex, an event captured on both police body cam and bystander footage. LAPD officers approached calmly, handcuffing him on the outdoor staircase before leading him to a patrol vehicle in an operation that concluded in under 5 minutes. Upon his booking at the Los Angeles County Jail around 8:15 a.m. PDT, Jackson was formally charged with felony battery causing serious bodily injury under California Penal Code, Section 243, a charge carrying a potential sentence of 2 to 4 years in state prison, with possible enhancements of up to 3 additional years for great bodily injury. According to referee Doug Mallow, who had remained in contact with detectives throughout the process, the investigation was exhaustive, involving the review of multiple camera angles, medical reports, and live stream data before charges were finalized, a level of caution seemingly intended to ensure the case could withstand the public and legal scrutiny surrounding such a high-profile arrest.
The state took it over and their state charges, and what I think they had to look at was Stu's recovery, everything that was involved, the fact that LAPD is pretty lax on charging anybody. If you look at that and then you look at having the state taking it over.
Quentin Rampage Jackson addressed his son's release in a brief Instagram Live on September 19th, telling viewers, "Raja's home safe now and doing okay. The bond was paid, and he's learned his lesson, but he needs real help. Jail time a bit, therapy, anger management." His tone was weary but measured, reflecting the struggle of a father caught between accountability and protection. Yet, his comments also reignited public debate about the deeper forces that had shaped this tragedy. Analysts and commentators began dissecting how streaming culture, online validation loops, and toxic masculinity had influenced Raja's worldview, rewarding aggression, punishing vulnerability, and blurring the line between performance and reality. What emerged was a portrait not just of a violent act, but of a generation raised in an ecosystem that monetized outrage, where every moment of conflict became potential content and empathy was often treated as weakness.
So he had a $50,000 bail, so don't be surprised if he's out in the morning or if he's already out and we just haven't heard about it yet. That's usually how these things go. The process is the punishment. His process is just starting, and it's going to be a very, very long process.
As of September 21st, 2025, no arraignment hearing has been scheduled, though insiders speculate a preliminary hearing could occur within 10 to 15 days if prosecutors opt for a fast-track approach, given the overwhelming video evidence. Raja Jackson himself has remained completely silent since the incident, with his Kick streaming account inactive and all social media profiles scrubbed of recent activity. Sources close to the family confirm he's under a self-imposed media blackout at their Los Angeles home, avoiding public appearances or statements on legal advice. The long-term implications for Jackson's career appear catastrophic. Industry analysts are unanimous in their conclusion that his prospects in both combat sports and entertainment are effectively over. Once seen as a rising crossover talent blending MMA credibility with digital charisma, Jackson now stands as a cautionary tale of how impulse, ego, and viral culture can annihilate a career in seconds.
People were able to goad this guy into having the most extreme reaction, all because he was being diplomatic, that he accepted the other person's apology and moved on. Now, nigga, you gotta get your respect. And people actually think...
The California State Athletic Commission, CSAC, has officially flagged Raja Jackson's amateur MMA license for review, a move that could result in suspension or permanent revocation pending the outcome of his criminal case. At the same time, streaming platforms such as Kick have banned him indefinitely, citing violations of their community conduct policies related to acts of real-world violence. Even his father, Quentin Rampage Jackson, offered a grim outlook on his son's online future, admitting during an interview that Raja's streaming career was likely done for good. Rampage's tone carried a mix of resignation and sorrow as he reflected on how quickly fame, unchecked anger, and audience validation had combined to destroy everything his son had built.
Your son will continue to do stuff in the public eye? Like, what do you think becomes of him now?
I don't fucking know. I don't see how he can.
The broader impact on the combat sports and indie wrestling industries has been profound. KnockX Pro Wrestling Academy suspended all live-streamed events indefinitely and introduced mandatory safe word protocols for performers, alongside stricter guest vetting and new safety audits, following widespread boycotts and sponsor withdrawals. The incident reignited debate over the blurred line between scripted entertainment and real violence, prompting industry veterans like JBL to call for zero-tolerance policies against unapproved in-ring aggression. Meanwhile, Stuart Psycho Stu Smith's recovery remains ongoing. Neurologists have projected a 3 to 6 month recovery window before he can be medically cleared for contact activity, though data from VA TBI studies place his risk of post-concussive syndrome at 40% financially. The community's support has helped stabilize his situation, but his return to wrestling remains uncertain. Smith has hinted at channeling his ordeal into a memoir titled From Script to Slam, Surviving the Shoot, while taking on coaching and advocacy work to stay involved with the sport. Yet behind the resilience lies deep trauma, a reminder of how fragile the balance between performance and reality can be, and how lasting the scars are for those who lived through its collapse.